Hey everyone, my name is Sean Marshall. Thanks for coming to my channel. I'm a songwriter and a guitar player currently based in Eastern Pennsylvania. Sorry, my strap is all messed up right now. I just improvised a little bit in the key of D major with my Telecaster. Now, Fender's been doing a lot of videos lately about the Telecaster celebrating its 75th anniversary. And I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring just because everyone was kind of talking about it. There are a lot of videos on YouTube, and it's in the discourse right now about Telecasters. And honestly, when haven't they been in the discourse? Telecasters are the first solid body electric guitar, and they've always been relevant in some way. Now, I kind of became hip to them pretty late on. I had been playing for a number of years. And I'll get to the details and the specs as how I arrived at this guitar, which I've had for almost 10 years in this iteration, and I do love it. But yeah, I came hip to Telecasters when I was in a band, and we went electric. It was like a folk acoustic band. We went electric, and I was a songwriter in the band. And I was at the store, and I really liked the Telecaster and the Strat. I love Strats too. But something about the Telecaster to me was more leaning in the direction of a songwriter. I felt like it just historically had more of an affiliation with songwriting, which I don't think is incorrect, although it doesn't need to be correct. But it's a silly, superficial reason. But nonetheless, that was the reason that I bought one. It wasn't this one. It was another one that was kind of semi-hollow, and I liked the idea, but it didn't feel like a real Tele. And so then I spent many years researching and looking into and playing other people's Telecasters and figuring out what I liked. And I sort of arrived at this strange cocktail. I'll try to keep it quick and brief, but this is a really wonderful guitar. I use this on nearly every project, recording. I play it live in a variety of settings. I play in a cover band, and this is the most useful guitar for that. If I'm recording, this makes it onto seemingly every project that needs an electric guitar. The specs are really interesting because essentially what I arrived at was an early 50s style broadcaster inspired Tele, like the originals, but some of the stylings and the superficial appointments, the way it looked, were more from the 60s. And that was kind of what I arrived at, like after playing a bunch and looking into them, that I really liked, and it served me really well. This is just a beautiful guitar that sustains. And rings out in your hand, and you can kind of feel it and hear it in the room really loud. And it is very flexible to different styles of music. That being said, the neck is quite chunky. It's sort of like a early 50s style chunky neck with a 7.25 radius, which is pretty rounded. It does have the vintage style tuners, a bone nut, and these are actually stainless steel frets, which was actually just a coincidence in the neck that I found had them. I wasn't seeking those out, and it's just what I've landed on, and it's been very practical because I haven't had to change them out, even though I've played it a ton. Then electronics, I put Emerson electronics in because they're really reliable, and they don't have that treble bleed, so that when you roll off the volume, you don't lose any treble. It's a little bit more true to me, and if I want to lose treble, I can just turn down the tone knob. This pickup is a Seymour Duncan Broadcaster, which is the flat pole pieces, and this neck is a PAF copy by Brandon Wound from Pataskala, Ohio, and very affordable, very authentic sounding, great pickups from him. I've gotten other pickups, including Strat pickups wound by him. You can kind of hear the guitar in the room without even being plugged in. And I just loved Olympic white with the mint green. I think that looks so classy. I've had friends refer to this to like as a blonde on blonde thing. I don't name my guitars at all. This is just my only Tele, so I call it that. And I do have compensated brass saddles. These are, I forget the name of the company. It starts with a C. Someone will put that in the comments. I'm sure they're not too cheap. They're pretty expensive, but I've tried other ones that were also good. So I've had other saddles in them, but these ones are just where I've landed. And that's it. I think one thing I want to talk about is I've sort of had a period where I was a reluctant Telecaster player. I was a little bit of ashamed of being a Telecaster player for one period in the middle there. I've gotten over it, I think. But I lived in the Midwest and played in Ohio, and everyone there plays a Telecaster. I mean, especially with proximity to Nashville, everyone plays Tele. And I'm from the East Coast, and I like country music a little bit, but I'm not a country guy, and I did not like being associated so firmly with that sound based on the look. And I think if you're in the Midwest or you're in the South and you see someone with a Telecaster on stage, you don't even have to listen, you just automatically assume country music. And I began to resent that a little bit, even though I had some country sounds. I was, I guess, resistant to being classified that way or feeling classified that way, which is, maybe silly. I think in its own right, it's just a wonderful guitar and we shouldn't worry about perception. But that was something that got on my nerves for a while. And also, that thin sound from the bridge pickup, sometimes I felt like that there were other guitars that actually didn't need anything in my signal chain or on my pedal board that would make it sound thicker. And like I have a 335 style guitar, and that sounds really good in the bridge. I have a Jazzmaster that sounds really good in the bridge, and this sounds really good in the bridge too, but it is rather thin. I always use compression with it. Right now it's just going straight in the amp, and so that's it. That's my Telecaster. It doesn't have a name, but they're highly customizable. Maybe most of all, they're just so brutally enduring and reliable, where tuning is so stable. I've had drop this multiple times, and there's not so much as a scratch on it, knock on wood. But that's really what it comes down to, is if you're on stage for a couple hours a night, or if you're traveling through the country, and you need something that isn't going to break on you, and it's going to sound good. Sorry for giving you the finger. The Telecaster is really it. And, on that, we could... So it can do everything. It really can do rock and country and jazz too, and funky stuff. If you're in the middle. Sorry, this video is getting long, but super quacky in the middle there, and it just kind of can do everything, and you can't argue with that. So thanks for listening to this now 10-minute rant. I can't believe it, but maybe that itself is a testament to the guitar. And happy 75 years of the Tele. Don't let anyone push you into a corner. If you're playing one, it certainly is more than just one genre instrument. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much, and happy playing.